Welcome to the AI for Career Success video overview by Curt Robbins, where we help you get smarter than your competition. Today, we are analyzing the December 24, 2025 announcement. We're going to deconstruct the bombshell news of the reported $20 billion deal between Nvidia and the AI chip startup Groq. Here's how we'll break down this analysis. We'll start with the initial announcement, then clarify the actual structure of the deal. From there, we'll dive into Nvidia's strategic thinking, place it in the broader context of industry trends, and finally, consider the long-term implications for competition in AI. All right, let's rewind to when this news first dropped. The figure alone, $20 billion, was enough to make it a landmark event, sending shockwaves through the tech industry right on Christmas Eve. Now, the first reports that came out suggested a very simple narrative, a straightforward acquisition. And if that were true, it would have been Nvidia's largest purchase ever by a very significant margin. It signaled a huge, aggressive move for the company. And just to grasp the scale of this, we're talking about $20 billion. That figure represents nearly a third of Nvidia's entire cash reserves, which stood at just over $60 billion. It's a massive deployment of capital. However, as the details started to surface, it became very clear that the headline didn't tell the whole story. The reality of the transaction is far more nuanced than a simple acquisition, and this is where the strategy really becomes apparent. So let's be very clear about what this was and what it wasn't. This was not a traditional acquisition where Nvidia absorbs Groq. Instead, it was this carefully constructed arrangement, a tech license, an asset purchase, and a strategic talent hire. And the crucial part? Groq continues to operate as an independent company. And you don't just have to take our word for it. Nvidia's own CEO, Jensen Huang, laid it out in an internal email. He stated very plainly that while they are adding talent and licensing IP, they are not, in fact, acquiring Groq as a company. This, of course, brings us to the $20 billion question. Why? Why would Nvidia pay a staggering 190% premium over Groq's last valuation for such a complex, non-traditional arrangement? What was the strategic calculus here? Well, the answer really lies in the growing importance of something called AI inference. You see, for years, the industry's focus was on training these massive AI models. But the next great battleground is inference. That's the phase where you actually use the trained model to generate predictions. Computational demand there is exploding, and that's precisely the market Groq was built to address. So when you boil it all down, Nvidia's motives seem to fall into four key buckets. First, get access to Groq's high-performance technology for inference. Second, bring on board some incredibly scarce talent, like its founder, Jonathan Ross. Third, preempt a competitor that could become a serious problem down the road. And fourth, solidify its dominance across the entire AI hardware stack, from training to inference. Now, this type of deal isn't happening in a vacuum. In fact, it's part of a pattern that's becoming more common across the tech industry, a kind of playbook for navigating an environment of increasing regulatory scrutiny. If you just look at the timeline from the past couple of years, you can see this license and hire strategy emerging. We saw it with Microsoft and Inflection AI, and again with a similar deal from Google. It's become a way for big tech to effectively acquire key assets and talent from competitors without triggering the formal antitrust reviews a traditional merger would face. So, what are the broader consequences of this deal? Well, its structure and its sheer scale tell us a lot about the current state of venture capital and the competitive landscape for AI hardware. Let's look at it from an investor's point of view. For an early backer like Social Capital, this was the result of a long, high-conviction bet. Their journey began back in 2017 with a total investment of just over $62 million. And that bet paid off spectacularly. That initial investment has now turned into an estimated $3 to $4 billion in roughly 8 years. That is what you'd call a generational venture capital outcome. But a win this big also sends a rather chilling message to the rest of the market. For other AI chip startups, the writing on the wall is pretty clear. The implication is that trying to compete directly with Nvidia's financial power is likely futile, which makes a strategic exit the most logical path forward. And so this deal really encapsulates the central tension in the AI landscape today. On one hand, it's a brilliant strategic move and a massive win for innovation and its early backers. But on the other, it perfects a playbook that could consolidate power and stifle the next wave of competition. It leaves us with this fundamental question. Where do we draw the line between smart business and anti-competitive behavior? Thank you for watching. This is where we teach you AI and help you get smarter than your competition. To continue learning, please subscribe to the AI for Career Success YouTube channel. Like, comment, and share this video to help us reach a wider audience.